Quick disclaimer guys, as I'm sure you're all very much aware, there is a global health pandemic occurring around the world right now that begins with the letter C. I just learned whilst I was editing my review for Mulan that any content made discussing the C word can be demonetized. So I've had to edit this video and bleep out all mentions of the C word. So that's the disclaimer. Let's get back to the video. Hey up guys! So last Thursday I got to attend the European premiere of the new Disney live action film Mulan. Minutes after I came out of the screening, I went on Twitter and found out that Disney had decided to delay the release of this film because of the So right now, as of filming this video, I'm one of a handful of people that have actually seen this film, and it's unclear when the rest of the world is going to get to see it. However, if you're keen to find out how this film holds up, here is my review of Niki Caro's live-action Mulan. Let's talk about it. So Niki Caro's Mulan is a live-action, reimagined interpretation of Disney's animated classic 1998 film Mulan. First thing I should mention is that there are numerous changes to this film compared to the animated version, which I'll discuss in a moment, but the plot is mostly the same. The story is about a spirited Chinese girl called Mulan, played in this film by Yifei Lui, who disguises herself as a boy so she can enlist in the Imperial Army in replacement of her sick elderly father. The first change to this film is the villain. This time it isn't the Huns invading China. Instead, it's the roaring army led by Bori Khan, who's played by Jason Scott Lee, who's assisted by a powerful witch. Mulan is told by her parents at the beginning of the film that she is to bring honor to the family by marrying well. This film, I believe, is set in 15th century China, and the role of women in society was to be quiet, composed, elegant, graceful, poised, and polite. Mulan herself doesn't quite fit this role because she's a highly skilled sword fighter. Her father at the beginning of the film tells her to hide her gifts and silence her voice. The film's undercurrent message is very empowering for young girls because it's about a woman finding her voice and not conforming to gender stereotypical roles in service of cultural traditions. So it certainly has a positive and progressive message at the center. So what other changes are there? Well, for starters, Mulan has a sister in this film, and her kooky grandmother is nowhere to be seen. Other characters that we don't have are the smart-mouthed dragon Mushu, there's no Shang, and instead of an adorable cricket, this time we have a soldier who's one of Mulan's friends in the army who's called Cricket, because apparently he's lucky too. So as you can see, there are a lot of changes that have been made character-wise, but how did I find it all? When it comes to reviewing this movie, it's going to be a real case of having my cake and eating it too, because I'm glad that Niki Caro didn't do a copy and paste of the 1998 film, like say the live-action remake of The Lion King did, and I commend her for not relying on nostalgia and giving us something different and new. Having said that, I did have my fair share of problems with this film. But for now, let's focus on the positives. I already mentioned that I think it's awesome that Niki Caro decided to tell her own story rather than being derivative, and the film also has an empowering message for girls. I also thought the cinematography from Mandy Walker was stunning. There's some absolutely gorgeous landscape shots. It felt very inviting. It made me want to go to China, which I really should because my little brother lives out there. The camera work is so kinetic. It's got that whole crouching tiger, hidden dragon feel, like we're dancing with Mulan as she jumps on top of the rooftops. And the camera work is very well employed during the action scenes as well. The stunt work is impressive, particularly the battle scenes. Some of the stuff they do on charging horses is jaw-dropping. The costumes as well were also ravishing. Excellent work from costume designer Bina Dejla. And this might sound like a self-evident positive, but thankfully the entire cast of this film is Asian. You might say, duh, but this is a big deal. Hollywood has a long, inglorious history of casting white actors in ethnic roles. Disney themselves came under fire quite recently for whitewashing when they cast Tilda Swinton as the role of the Ancient One in Doctor Strange. And in the comics, this character is supposed to be a male Tibetan monk. So yes. So the fact that we have an all-Asian live-action Disney movie is something to celebrate. Okay, so now let's talk about the negatives. I know I shouldn't compare this live-action Mulan to the 1998 film because they are different films, they do tell slightly different stories. However, a lot of people are going to go see this film because of their love for the original. So it's only natural to compare. And if you're like me and this 1998 version holds a special place in your heart, then I think a lot of people are going to be left disappointed by this new version. Again, it's the whole having the cake and eating it too dilemma. On the one hand, I'm glad that Niki Caro told a different story, but on the other, there's so much about the story which I love that isn't present here. There's no Mushu, there's no Shang, and most importantly, the very soul of the original is absent, and that's the songs. This isn't a musical, this film. However, Caro forgets that the songs from the original film gave it so much emotionality as well as character insight and development. We don't have Mulan singing Reflection, so the inner conflict of Mulan being who her family needs her to be versus who she wants to be, it's just not there. The training montage of I'll make a man out of you isn't here. Instead, all we get is this less impactful montage of the army carrying buckets of water up this hill. And it just lacks emotional oomph. The music in the 1998 film is a critical point of what made that film so classic. Take this scene where Mulan makes the choice to take her father's place and leave home in the middle of the night without saying goodbye. It's such a rousing, powerful moment, and it's powerful because of the swelling, majestic score. You really feel what's at stake. However, in the live action version, the same scene has no impact. It falls flat compared to the animated version. And I found this to be a recurring problem. Many of the film's dramatic moments didn't hit with any impact. The tone is often quite muddled because it takes itself so seriously. I understand why they chose not to have a wisecracking talking dragon. Although if your film's gonna have a warrior with magical powers, then why not a talking dragon? But Mushu was always the comic relief in the animated version. And without him, the attempts at comedy in this film come across as very forced. The matchmaker scene is a prime example of how muddled the tone is when this film tries to be funny. The scene involves a spider and a wacky reaction, but it comes across as goofy. It doesn't sit right with you as a viewer because so much of this scene clashes with itself. There's another scene where Mulan is sitting around a campfire with her soldier friends, and it's all serious because they're talking battle tactics and the fact that some of them are probably gonna die. Mulan says that she will protect all of them, but then cracks a joke at the expense of her friend Yao by saying, "Except for you, Yao, I might take the opportunity to kill you myself." And the reaction from the other soldiers is this over-the-top laughter. I'm not even kidding, it sounded like this. It's just so forced. It's like it's telling the audience, you're supposed to be laughing right now. This is a joke. Laugh, damn it! So yeah, there's very little humour in this film that actually sticks the landing. Also, another glaring problem with this film's premise is that the actress Yifei Lui, who plays Mulan, is far too gorgeous to convincingly pass as a boy in the Imperial Army. There are so many moments where I'm like, how the hell is she fooling anybody? Like, that totally took me out of the movie in places. Also, Yifei Lui's performance was a bit hit or miss for me. There were times where I was very aware that I was watching a performance. At times it feels like she's just reciting her lines rather than metabolizing them with any real meaning behind them. The supporting characters as well, I didn't feel attached to any of them, and that's because the script doesn't take the time for us to get to know them properly. So it's time to sum up with my 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? I mean, it's not unwatchable, it does have its moments where it's entertaining, but given the choice between the 2 Mulans, I would much rather watch the 1998 film every single time. So honestly, I don't think I would watch this film again. Question number 2, do I recommend it? I think if you haven't seen the animated film, then you'll probably have an alright time watching this. However, if you have seen and love the 1998 animated film, then I think there's a good chance you will walk away from this disappointed. But I would still say go and watch it. It's got some beautiful cinematography, the production design is lovely, same as the costumes, the action is fun and creative, and we should be encouraging more people to go and watch big movies which show diverse representation. Plus, I always say it's always good to form your own opinion. I just had a hard time separating my feelings for the 1998 film when watching this, and it just lacked emotion and humour. And question number 3, what score am I going to give it out of 10? While I applaud Niki Caro for going in a new direction and giving us a different take on the story, her version of Mulan feels watered down and hollow in comparison to the animated film. There's lots of dazzling action set pieces in this, but it's not enough to compensate for the lack of emotion and humour. And without the songs, the story loses its soul. So it's with a heavy heart that I give the live action version of Mulan a score of 4 out of 10. There we go, guys, that was my review of Mulan. But as always, this is just one bloke's opinion. I do want to hear from you guys though. Are you excited to see this film? Will you be off to see it? And if you have seen this film, what did you think of it? My quick question for you guys today is, what movie are you most upset by that's been delayed due to the Whatever you guys think, be sure to let your voices be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, click subscribe for more content just like this, and if you want to follow me on any social media, in the video description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you next time.